Hello, welcome to Basic 2 Tech for students, teachers, and math education. Today's video is everything about Roman numerals. Roman numerals are a collection of symbols that make up the number system that was used by the ancient Romans. The Roman numeral system uses just 7 symbols, and I, they are I, V, X, L, C, D, and M, where I represents 1, V represents 5, X represents 10, L represents 50, C represents 100, D represents 500, and M represents 1000. To form large numbers, the symbols are combined in various ways. The quantity and order of these letters determine the value of the final number, which means that the ancient Roman numerals wrote numbers using a combination of just 7 letters. Before we move on to the rules for writing Roman numerals, I want you to note that the number 0 was not featured by the Romans simply because they had no use for it. So we have no 0 in Roman numerals. Now let's look at the different rules that we use for writing Roman numerals. There are certain rules to be followed if we have to represent a number in Roman numerals. Now let's check the first one. The first rule is that rule number one is that the value of the symbol itself is added to itself as many times as it is repeated. For example, we can have I, we can have XX, we can have XXX. Now, please, you must note that a symbol can only be repeated 3 times. So we cannot have XXX. This is a no-no. So a symbol can only be repeated up to 3 times. And when you have II, it means 2. You have XS, that is 10 plus 10, that's 20. Where you have XXS, that is 10 plus 10 plus 10, that is 30. So rule number one, the value of the symbol can be repeated up to 3 times. That is rule number one. Rule number two is that you can add numbers together by putting the symbols in descending order from left to right. For example, we can have XVI, which is X is 10 plus VI or V is 5 and I is 1, which gives us 10 plus 5, 15 plus 1, 16. Again, we can have X, 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 I. That gives us 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus I, which is 1, plus I, 1, plus I, 1. That is 10 plus 10 plus 30, that is 33. Again, rule number two is that you can add numbers together by putting the symbols in descending order. Putting the symbols in descending order from left to right. Rule number three. Rule number three is that when a symbol of smaller value appears after a symbol of greater value, its value will be added. I repeat that. When a symbol of smaller value appears after a symbol of greater value, its values will be added. Remember, we have several symbols. We have the I, we have V, we have X, we have L, we have C, we have D, we have M. And as you can see, these symbols are increasing from left to right. So, rule number three states that when a symbol of smaller value appears after a symbol of greater value, for example, if we have VI, for example, as you can see, I is a smaller value. So when a smaller value appears after a larger value, we add. So that means VI, V is 5 plus I is 1. So that gives us what? 6. Again, we can have, for example, we can have LX. Again, X is a smaller value appearing after a larger value. So we add L is 50 plus our X is 10. So that gives us what? 60. So LX is 60. Again, rule number three is when a symbol of small value appears after a symbol of greater value, its values will be added. That is rule number three. Let's go to rule number four. It states that you can subtract numbers from each other by placing a symbol with a smaller value to the left of one with a larger value. Again, remember, we have several symbols. We have the I, V, the X, L, C, D, M. And these symbols are increasing from left to right. I is 1, V is 5, X is 10, L is 50, C is 100, D is 500, and M is 1000. Now, when you have a smaller number placed before a larger number, or when you have a small number placed to the left of the larger number, for example, we have IV, for example, this I is a smaller number, is coming before the bigger number. In this case, we subtract. So it becomes what? The large number, which is 5, minus the small number, which is 1, that gives us what? 4. So IV is 4. If you have, for example, we have XL. Again, X is 10, L is 50. So X is 10, L is 50. When a small symbol comes before the larger value, we subtract. So it becomes 50 minus 10. So that gives us what? 40. So SL is equal to 40. All right, that is our rule number 4. So for emphasis, when a symbol of smaller value appears before a greater value symbol, it will be subtracted. Let's look at rule number 5. Rule number 5. Now, the subtractive principle has a few specific limitations. For instance, a numeral can only be placed in front of the two numerals that are closest to it in the Roman numeral system. Remember, this is the Roman numeral system. The rule states that that a numeral can only be placed in front of two numerals that are closest to it. That means that I can only place I before before V or X. I cannot place I before D and N. No, no, no. That is why there's nothing, you cannot find anything like like ID. No. There's nothing like IC. No. We can only place a numeral in front of the two numerals that are closest to it. So one of example is we can place I before IV. For example, we have IV, we have X. All right. Again, we can place X before L or C. As you can see, they are close. They are close. Remember, numerals can only be placed in front of the two numerals that are closest. So we can have SL, we can have XC. Again, we can place C before D or M. So we can have CD, we can have CN. So please, you have to remember this number 5 principle, which is very, very important if you want to master your Roman numerals. All right. And again, you must also note that you can only place one smaller numeral in front of a larger one for subtractive purposes. So that means that the symbols VL, VLD are never subtracted. Again, the symbol VLD are never subtracted as they are not written before a greater value symbol. One more rule, our rule number 6. Let me take this off. So our rule number 6 is that we use a bar over each symbol to multiply it by 100. Remember, I is 1, V is 5, X is 10, L is 50, C is 100, D is 500, and M is 1,000. So when we place a bar, for example, we place a bar over V, it means that we multiply V by 1,000. So when a bar is placed over each of the symbol, it means that we are multiplying by 1,000. So bar V, so this is bar V means that it is 5 times 1,000. So bar V means what? 5,000. If we have, for example, you have bar, let's say bar C, which is bar C. Remember, C is 100, so it's 100 times 1,000. That gives us what? 100,000. So the same goes for each of these symbols. Again, for example, bar L, for example, bar L is 50 times 1,000. That gives us what? 50,000. So this is how we write Roman numerals. If you know these rules, you will be a genius in Roman numerals. All right, so let's write Roman numerals from 1 to 10. Remember, we have 7 symbols. We have we have I, V, X, L, C, D, and M. I is 1, V is 5, X is 10, L is 50, C is 100, D is 500, and M is 1,000. All right. So let's write from 1 to 10 in Roman numerals. So to get 1, as you can see, just I. So I is equal to 1. To get 2, I can repeat the I. So it becomes I equal to 2. To get 3, I can repeat I again 3 times. I. That is equal to 3. To get 4, this time we cannot repeat a symbol more than 4 times. So what we do, we can apply the rule. Remember, to get a 4, I have V as 5, I have I as 1. So I can write this, I can subtract 5, 1 minus 1. Sorry, so I can subtract 1 from 5. That means that is IV. Remember, the rule is that to get to subtract, we put a small number before the big number, or we put the small symbol before the large symbol. So it becomes IV becomes what? 5 minus 1, which is 4, So that means that IV is equal to 4. To get a 5 is just V, so V is 5. To get 6, now to get 6, we have to add 5 plus 1. So what should come first? The large symbol. So VI. So we have the small number after the big number. So we add, which is 5 plus 1, that gives us 6. To get 7 again, we add I 2 times. So V. So we have V 5 plus I, that gives us 7. To get 8, we have V, which is 5. We have I 6, I 7, I 8. So I is 8. Now to get 9, we cannot do this. We cannot add V to 4 I's because we cannot repeat a symbol more than 3 times. So this won't work. So what we do to get 9 is that we can subtract 1 from 10. That means that we have to write I x. Remember, to subtract, the small symbol must come before the large number. So x is 10, so we have 10 minus 1, that is 9. So Ix gives us 9. Now for 10 is x, so our x is 10. So this is how we write Roman numerals from 1 to 10. Now let's write Roman numerals from 10 to 100. Please remember the rules. Again, we have several symbols in the Roman numerals. We have I, which is 1. We have V, which is 5. We have X, which is 10. And we have L, which is 50. We have C, which is 100. We have D, which is 500. And we have M, which is 1,000. Now, how do we write Roman numerals from 10 to 100? As you know from the symbols, x is 10, so my x is equal to 10. Now, to get Roman numeral 20, what we do is we can write x plus x is 20, so we can write x, which is 10 plus 10, that gives us 20. Okay, now 30 should be x plus x. Remember, we can repeat a symbol up to 3 times. So this is 10 plus 10 plus 10, that is 30. Our next symbol is 40. How do we get 40? Remember, I have 10, I have 50, so I can subtract 10 from 50. That means that to subtract, the small value comes before the large value. To add, the small value have to come after the large value. So to subtract 10 from 50, we write x first because x is a smaller value. Then we write L. That means that SL means 50 minus 10. So we subtract the small value from the large value. That gives us what? 40. To get 50, L is 50, so my L is 50. To get my 60, what I do now is to add 10 to 50. This time, the small symbol have to come after the large symbol. So it's L, which is 50, plus X, which is 10. So we have L is 50, plus X is 10. That gives us 60. To get 70, again, we can have our L is 50, X is 10, that's 50, plus X, that's 70. So we have 50 plus X, that gives, sorry, 50 plus 10, sorry for that. That is 50 plus 10 plus 10. That gives us 70. All right. To get 80, what we do again is to have our L, which is 50. Then we can add 30, which is X plus X plus X. That is 50 plus X, SX is 30. That gives us what? 80. Now, to get our 90, what do we do? Now, remember, I have C as 100, X as 10. So if we subtract 10 from 100, that should give us 90. So that means that if we are subtracting, the small symbol must come before the big symbol. So that means that S comes first, then our C. This means that 100, C is 100 minus X is 10. That gives us what? 90. Remember, guys, you have to always, if you are subtracting, the small symbol comes before the large symbol. If you are adding, the small symbol comes after the large symbol. That's for 90. So for 100, from the symbol, 100 is C, so C is equal to 100. So this is how we write Roman numerals from 10 to 100. Now, how do we convert Roman numerals from 100 to 1,000? Again, you must remember we have just 7 symbols in the Roman numerals, which is I presents 1, I is 1, we have V, which is 5, we have X, which is 10, we have L, which is 50, we have C, which is 100, we have D, which is 500, and we have M, which is 1,000. So how do we write Roman numerals from 100 to 1,000? So for 100, as you can see right on the symbol, C is 100, so my C is for 100. Now for 200, we can repeat the symbol C twice, so CC, that gives us 100 plus 100, that is 200. For 300, we can repeat our C 3 times, so it's C, 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 that is 100 plus 100 plus 100, that is 300. Now for 400, remember we cannot repeat a symbol more than 3 times. So what we do is that we have C, we have D, so we can subtract 100 from 500 to get 400. So that means that if we are subtracting, the small symbol comes first. So we have C, we have D. So that means that 500 minus 100 is 400. This um, this rule is very important. If you are subtracting, you have to the small symbol, for example, in this case, C has to come before the large symbol. Next is 500. From our symbol, D is 500, so D is 500. For 600, now we can add 100 to 500. So if we are adding, it means that the large symbol D will come before the small symbol. So we have DC. So which is in this case, because the large symbol comes before the small symbol, we add, so it is 500 plus 100, that is 600. For 700, we can do the same thing, becomes D, which is 500. We can add CC to it, so it becomes 6C, which is 500, plus 6C, CC is 200, which is plus 200, that gives us 700. We can do the same for 800, which is 500 plus CCC, so we have DCCC, that gives us 500, plus CCC is 300, so that's 300, that gives us 800. So what next is our 900. How do we get our 900? Now remember, C is 100 and M is 1,000. When we subtract 100 from 1,000, we get 900. So that means that our C has to come before the M since we are subtracting. So it becomes CM, which means that is 1,000 minus 100, which gives us what? 900. So the last is 1,000, which is M. So M is equal to 1,000. So that is it. So this is how we write Roman numerals from 100 to 1,000. If you are to write, for example, let's say 1,000,000, for example, 1,000,000, 1,000,000, for example. Let's say we're writing 1,000,000. What we do is that becomes what? It becomes bar M. Sorry, becomes bar M, which is bar M. That means that is 1,000 times 1,000. That gives us 1,000,000. So when you have a bar above the symbol, we multiply the symbol by 1,000. All right, so let's look at how we can convert Roman numerals to numbers. The first question is this. It says, what does the Roman number xc equal to? So we have xc. What does it equal to? Now, remember, x is 10 and c is 100. When you have the small symbol coming before the large symbol, we subtract the small symbol from the large symbol. So xc becomes 100 minus 10. That gives us what? 90, which means that xc is equal to 90. Let's go to our next question. Question number 2. it says write in numbers x, x, I, x. So we have x, x, I, x. What is that? X, x, I, x. Remember, x is 10, I is 1, and I, x. So we have x, x, I, x. So we have x, x, so that's 10 plus 10. Here we have I, x. Remember, I is 1 and x is 10. Again, for this one, when you have a small value coming before the large number, we subtract. So it becomes 10 minus 1. So Ix is 9. So it becomes 10 plus 10 plus 9. So that gives us what? 29. So therefore, Ix is 29. Question number 3. It says convert MCCLXVII to a decimal number. So we have M C C L X V I I. Now remember, our M is 1,000, so our M is 1,000 plus our CC is 200. Remember, C is 100, so C is 100. C is 100 plus C, which is 100, plus my L is 50, plus I have my X. My X is 10, plus I have VII. I have a small number coming after a large number. So 5, V is 5, plus II, that is 2. So what we do now is to add up. So 1,000 plus 100 plus 100 plus 50 plus 10 plus 5 plus 1 and plus 2, that gives us 1,267. This is the decimal number, or the number that MCCLXVII represents. Now let's see how we can convert numbers to Roman numerals. Question 1, it says write 59 in Roman numerals. So we have 59 in Roman numerals. Now we can break this down. It's 50 plus 9, 59. 50 plus 9, 59. So in Roman numerals, 50 is written as L. 50 is written as L, okay? Plus our 9 is written as IX. So that means that 59 is same thing as saying L I X. Okay? Now let's move on to our next question. Question 2. It says convert the number 594 in the Roman numeral form. So we have 594 in the Roman numeral form. I can write this in, I can say 594. So we have 500. So this is 100. This is tens and units. So 500, this is 500, for example. So 9 is tens, so that's 90. And 4 is units, so just 4. Okay, so in Roman numerals, our 500, as you know, 500 is giving us D. I hope you remember that. 500 is given as D. Now for 90, remember we use we subtract 100 from sorry, for 90 we subtract 10 from 100. That means that we have 100 minus 10, and that means that we have 10 is x, 100 is 10 is x, 100 is c. So that means that the small number comes first, so we have xc. But when we are subtracting, the small number comes before the large symbol, or the small symbol comes before the large symbol. So xc is 90. So for 4 is equal to what? 4 is equal to um, IV. That means that we subtract is 5 minus 1. 1 is I, V, 5 is V. So if we are subtracting, the small symbol comes before the large symbol. So 4 is IV. So therefore 594 is equal to DXC IV. That is the value for 594. Question number 3. Convert 1774 to Roman numerals. So we have 1774. Convert to Roman numerals. Again, you have to break these things into 100, tens, and units. So this is our units. These are units. These are tens. These are 100. These are 1,000. So that means that we have 1,000. 7 is that's 700. 7 is 710. That's 70. And we have 4, which is just 4. So from our Roman numeral symbols, 1,000 represents M. Now for 700, what do? We subtract, or we add 500 plus 200, which means that 500 is D, 200 is 6C. If we're adding, the large symbol comes before the small symbol. So for 70, we add 50 plus 20, and you know that 50 is L, 20 is XX. For 4, we subtract 5, or we subtract 1 from 5. That gives us IV, because 1 is I, 5 is V. Here, because we are subtracting, the small symbol comes before the large symbol. All right. So therefore, our I774 in Roman numerals is equal to M DCC L XX IV. That is the answer. Let's take one more on how we can convert numbers to Roman numerals. Number 4, it says convert 1984 into Roman numerals. So we have 1984 into Roman numerals. Again, this is the units. These are tens. These are 100. These are thousands. So 1,000. So we have 1,000, 900. We have 8 tens, which is 80, and we have 4. Again, 1,000 is written in M. 900 is 500. 500 plus 400, or sorry, 900 is 1,000 minus 100. So 100 is C, 1,000 is M. So because we are subtracting, so the small symbol comes before the large symbol. So you see M. So for 80, we add 30 to 50. So 50 is L and 30 is XXS. So because we are adding, the large number comes first before the smaller symbols. 4 again is 5 minus 1, so it's IV. So therefore 1984 is M, CM, L, XXX, IV. That is our answer for that. Let's take one more. Number 5. We're asked to convert 9143 into the Roman numerals. So we have 9143 into the Roman numerals. So we split into thousands, hundreds, tens, and units. So the last digit is units. The next is tens. The next is hundred, and the last is 1,000. So 9 means 9,000. So we have 9,000. 100, sorry, 1,000. 100. 4 tens, which is 40, and 3 units, which is just 3. So how do we get 9,000 in this case? How do we get 9,000 in this case? What do we do to get 9,000? Remember that our 9 is what? 9 is IX. And remember, to get at 9,000, we have to make it bar X. So bar X means 9 times 1,000, which gives us 9,000. So 9,000 is equal to IX bar IX. Okay, 100 on the Roman numerals is C. Now for 40 is XL, or you can subtract 10 from 50. So we have XL, which is 50 minus 10. So 10 is X, 50 is L. Since we are subtracting, the small symbol comes first, so it's XL, and 3 is I. So therefore, 9143 is equal to RX, C, SL, I. So this is our final answer. So this is how you can solve questions on Roman numerals. So in this video, we've learned how to convert from Roman numerals to numbers and from numbers to Roman numerals. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, if you do, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and God bless.